Okay, well, today we're going to look at how to liven up our animations somewhat. Um, for the most part, a lot of our animations has been gray, dull, because we haven't explored too much in this. First, some sites I want to go over. There's this paint package called paint.net. There's also one called GIMP. GIMP Shop is what I like better, but first, talk about this paint.net. It's a free package, and if you just type in paint.net in your search, it's a little bit tricky to find out what to download, and I have to rethink it each time. Okay, I'm just gonna go to this getpaint.net. I got these little green buttons all over the place. I suppose how they make money and so forth. But if I remember right, you click this one, paint.net 4.2.3. And then from here, let's click one of these. I'm guessing the big button. Let's click the download now.pdn, see if that's it. Yeah, that's it. And then over here, you click this paint.net 4.2.13 or whatever the version says. Don't click this. I don't try to install some kind of package. And once it gets done, yeah, there it goes. It's just a zip file. So if I right click on that and I choose extract all and put in some kind of folder, all it is just an exe here that you can run and then installs. So it's pretty painless in terms of installing. And it'll give you this graphics package here, which we're gonna look at some of the basics of this here in a little bit. Okay, grab a drink. There's also, like I said, GIMP Shop. It's derived from GIMP. So search for. I'm not sure how you actually pronounce this. GNU, image manipulation program, GIMP. I don't like this one very well. Some people love it. I like my window. I like when I run my software. I like to be in one piece. And it used to be when you did this, you would have the windows as separate pieces, and it just I never could get used to the idea. I don't see any screenshots, so I guess I can't show it to you. But GIMP Shop with for people like me that like it to be one big window that you can choose options in. And GIMP Shop's not bad. I just like Paint.net. I'm looking right at screenshots, but I don't see it. But anyway, these do about everything that Photoshop would do. Now, I don't know the purpose behind Paint.net, to be honest with you. I never have researched it and so forth. It's not open source, and there's no ads on it except for that page where you download. Maybe it's collecting all my personal information. I don't know. But the idea behind GIMP and GIMP Shop and so forth is that they're called open source. Now there's this website called osalt.com, opensourcealternative.com, and on this, you'll see the top 10 open source. Everything out here is pretty refined. Everything out here is a pretty good package for the most part. If you're trying to figure out how to do photo editing, I can come here, type in Photoshop, and it'll come up with, of course, the paid ones. But then down below that, you'll see in green the free ones. So the red ones are the paid versions, and the green ones are the free. So here's Seashore. If you got a Mac, somewhere between the old Mac Paint, whatever that is, and Photoshop. So good place to go and just do some digging around. Saves you money. Now this is the big site for open source. Open source is programs that people have written, and they're put out there, and they make the source code available for you. And the programs are free. The idea is that we all collaborate, create these programs, share them on each other. Nobody has to pay these huge prices you used to have to pay for software. And you see how much it's used. This week there were 17 million downloads roughly so far for these projects. Now this includes everything. So if you want to look at the source code, like you want to write your own program, that's your goal. You want to write your own GIMP shop, then you can go look at their code. You can take their code and modify it. That's the idea behind open source. They got everything under the sun out here. If I type, they used to have an Algol. Algol was a programming language from the 60s, 50s. See if I can still find it. Open source Algol 68 implementations. This is in the 60s. If I click C project, some projects are very alive, very active. Some aren't really doing anything. But they got a lot of ads on these anymore. Used to be you could look to see when anything was done. Suppose if I look at the right item. Last update. So they haven't done anything for a couple of years on this project. But they have the files here. And more folders. And so some of this is code that you can download and look at and so forth. Let's see, they talk about the project. Okay, so that's SourceForge. I don't use SourceForge very much because I don't want to mess with somebody's code that doesn't work. That's why I go to OS Alt when I want to. I don't want to pay like $500 for a package. Now, here's a website, textures.com, and you can download various textures. So if you're trying to create some kind of effect in Blender, this is where you can find it. Somewhere I read you can download 15 free ones a day, and they're probably not the highest quality. I'm assuming that you pay and you get the highest quality. But that's textures.com. Okay, I guess that's all the web pages. Now I got a cube here, and over here we got material properties. It's a little ball looking thing with a red and white. And it's got a material block to it. We can add a new material block. Click new. We can add another one. Click new. So you can have different ones. You can double click them. Give them names. Like that. Okay. I'm going to change this window to the shader editor right here. Now, for the pink, I want to modify this somewhat. So I'm gonna come down here. I think, yeah. So my pictures window open. I have the pink Panther. So I'm gonna click and hold down my left mouse button and drag until my mouse is on top of Blender, and that opens up. And I come here and click and drop. Now I'm gonna click connect color to base color. Now that material block, and you can kind of see a little preview of it right there. That one has now had the Pink Panther image associated with it. So anything I apply that to, the Pink Panther will be applied to. Now if I click Pac-Man, yeah, I think I got Pac-Man, yeah. I'm gonna click this one. My left mouse button, hold down, drag, put my mouse on top of Blender, and drag it up here. And I'll connect color to the base color. Now, what else do I have? Bugs Bunny. Okay. So, I'm going to click my material block here, double click or click new, then double click that and rename it Bugs. I think you can do the add. Usually I just drag and drop it, but I think you can add texture, image texture. And then over here you can click open. And Bugs Bunny. And then connect the color to the base color. Okay, well, let's see what in the world this means then. So I just made these associations. We go back to my 3D viewport, and I want to change my my viewport shading up here to display material preview mode. Nice gray, because that's what my default material was. If I go into edit mode, you do a tab, and then choose face select. If I choose this face here, I come down to pink, I can click this assign. And that'll assign the that particular material to just this selection. And that material is connected to the Pink Panther photo. Now if I click this one over here, and I click Pac-Man, and I click assign. You see that? And let me click the top, I guess. And click Bugs, and click assign. And then that assigns Bugs Bunny to it. Now it still has some issues here. I want to go into what do I want to go to? UV editing, I guess. And I'll put this back to my display and material preview mode, just so I can see what I'm working with. And face is selected, so I got this top one selected, so I see that. I choose this one, and that selects that one. Okay, so if I choose Bugs Bunny, Only part of Bugs Bunny was appearing in that square. So this little rectangle here, I want to change this so it encompasses more of the image, if not all of it. Now, after you select it, only part of it is selected because it's based upon this right here, which says the vertex selection mode. And just like the other one, if you hold in your shift key, you can select multiple vertices. I know that's kind of hard to see, at least with my eyes. But now I'd have everything selected. Or you can choose the edge, or there's a face select here too. If you just do an A, it selects everything. If I move it up here, maybe I move in the middle. Do an S for scale. S for scale again, move that down. And now you see that it's applied that to that face. Pink Panther. Select that one. Same thing. I'm going to do an A to select everything. It's probably what's in face. Select. Do a G for grab. You can also use these tools over here if you didn't want to do it that way. If you go to your vertex, you can select that vertex, do a G for grab, move it down. Select this one, do a G for grab. Select this one, do a G for grab. And then you see the Pink Panther is there. Okay. Now Pac-Man. Do an A for select. S. G. And that's good enough. So that's how you can work with these. I don't think it'd mean anything if you did tried to assign a material block to a vertex or to a edge. It's more makes sense with the face or the entire object maybe. Now, notice how these are kind of gray. That's because our default material block is what everything goes to. So if you haven't assigned something else to it, it automatically goes to your default one up here. Now you might think, well, I'll just get rid of the default one. You can. Can't do it in edit mode, I guess. Okay, back to object. When you get rid of that, it picks a different default one. So it isn't like there's just nothing. I guess Pink Panther was the next one in the list, so it made it the Pink Panther. I did a Control Z to put that back. Now I'm not very good with the nodes here. And I'll be totally honest with you about that. Over here, the material output, this is where it's actually going to go into your surface. So that's kind of what causes it to be displayed. Let's go away. He says add and lots of different options. Couldn't tell you what all these are. Add node to the active tree. Okay, so after you choose that, you can click that. And I'll choose color here to specular. And if I had a vertex group, then I could pick the vertex group. I don't have any. Again, lots of different things you can do. I can do the very basics. I can drop an image on there. That's about the extent of what I can do. I clicked it and pressed delete. You can string these together. Like you can have something come into here. Now, sometimes it makes sense to have something that come in there. I don't think images probably would make much sense, but maybe it would. Okay, so Pink Panther, that's interesting. Took Peter and applied the coloring. Like I say, some people are very, very artistic. They can do wonders with this. I can go out there and I can steal somebody's ideas and create something. But this side where you can make those really graphical elements in an animation. Okay. Let me do a new on that. Is there any questions on that? Okay. Well, we're going to take a look at, we start talking about the UV unwrapping, and this goes into a lot more detail about it, maybe more than you want to know. And hopefully we'll have time for the sound and the video for animation also. Okay, so I got the step-by-step. To me, this isn't that intuitive. Okay, so we got our cube. Some of this is just review. You click your shading here, it brings up our nodes here. And so this is where, if you're working with this is based upon your material block here. So if I were to drop an image on there, for example, and drag that color over there to the base color, then it would apply that image to all of it. Again, you can individually work with the faces. You can also come here, this file browser, but it's probably easier to go to your file explorer and drag and drop it in there. Okay, so after we choose the shading button, then go into edit, select everything, change the lower left window to UV editor. Okay, so I got my shader selected, go into edit. I'm gonna do it by faces and do well, okay, we'll try it again. I have just this selected, now go into edit and I do an A. Okay, and UV editor, see this. Now that's one way. That's kind of small, so that's kind of hard to work with. There's also a UV editing option right here. This is a better one to work with, unless you got a good monitor. That's what I say here. Or click the UV editing. Now from this point, I won't go over it, but you can add a texture all the mesh. We've been showing you how to do that already. You can edit UV mapping. So over here, you click the arrow button on the left side. It brings up these tools, and you can grab these. You can scale them. You can grab a vertex. So I've already shown you kind of the basics of that anyway. But all the same functionalities there. And your idea is now you're not changing the shape of the mesh. Keep that in mind. It's like you've taken those particular faces and you've mapped them to or you've taken them to a UV map. A UV map you can think of like as a two-dimensional spread of it, which means if you have something curved, it'll still appear in 2 dimensions here, so it won't be 3 dimensions. And I talked about that. We talked a little bit about this. To unwrap something, you choose UV and unwrap, and it takes your seams that are marked and unwraps based upon these cuts. There's also some options here. Smart UV project, light map, pack, follow active quads, cube projection, cylinder projection, sphere projection, project from view bounds. All those are algorithms depending upon what your shape looks like, which one's best. I have watched many videos where they always recommend use Smart UV project. It tries to intelligently tell how to cut the mesh in pieces. You know, if you're doing a cube, it's fairly easy, although I think I had trouble with it last time or time before. But if you're working with something more complex, it's kind of hard to figure out where to do the cuts. Okay, excuse me. This is what we want to do. We want to export that UV layout for external editing. We want to take it into paint.net and make changes to it. Okay, in the UV editor, we're going to choose the UV export UV layout. Okay, so here's my UV editor right here. I'm going to choose UV export UV layout. And note your folder. Mine's in documents. And I already got a cube.png, but I'll go ahead and override it. So now click this export oil. You got to change fill opacity to 0. If you don't, it's got kind of a it's almost like a little ghost background when you take it in, and you want it to be completely clear. When you put a 0 here, all it will have is the rectangles designating the different sides. And I'll click UV layout or export UV layout. Now, if I come over to my paint.net, if I open that file up, UV documents. Oh, cube. A little hard to see, but you can see the little rectangles or little squares indicating where the bases were. Now you can zoom it by doing this down here in the bottom right hand corner. I think you can also do a view, zoom in. There we go. Now at this point, you can do whatever you want. For example, if I want to draw on these faces, 1, 2, 3, 4. Part of this is when you unwrap it, you have to kind of visualize where everything is. You know, is it going to be upside down or what exactly? And there's lots of different options in this. You don't have to like hold your screen upside down or anything. You can do a new layer. I'm not going to sit here and spend 2 or 3 classes getting you as an expert in paint.net, but there's an add new layer, and if I would put 5 on here, and I needed that be flipped around, there's my layers. Let's see. There's layers. If I have that layer selected, there's an image. Let's try that. Not that one. layers. Rotate zoom. And pan, rotate. I can move that upside down. And one of these select. So there's my 5 upside down. Now I'm going to do a file, open recent. I think I got Peter there. So I got Peter. I'm going to do an edit select all, edit copy. Come over here, do an edit paste. When I paste it, it's free form. It's kind of floating. And I click up here and drag. And then resize. Put my mouse in the bottom right hand corner over one of those open circles. My eyes aren't very good. Now, some of these you may say, well, I could do that just with that tool or the method you showed me earlier. Yeah, but this gives you a total control. The method I showed you earlier basically it assigns one image to one face. Here you can do whatever you want. So you got the complete power of the graphics package available. Now, when you get that all done, you click File, Save, and we that's curious. I do a save as. Once saved as PDN, I don't want that. So I'm going to change it to PNG. I'll leave it as cube. It's in Documents. And click Save. And then yes. And then click OK. And I guess I'll flatten it because I got layers, and that's fine. Okay. So now I just saved off that image. Let's skip ahead a little bit here. Went over all this. Change opacity. Edit some graphics editor, which we just did. Back in Blender, change the window size of UV editing window to be small. I'm not even sure if you wouldn't necessarily not even need it. I create a new window by clicking up here in the upper right hand corner. You have to click in the right place. And I click with the left mouse button, hold down, and drag, and it creates a new window. Okay, we want a window call for the shader editor, which we looked at already. That's where we make the connection between everything. Okay. I don't know why that keeps going back. Okay, so got that on display material preview mode. Okay. Guess went back because I did a new file, a new Blender file. That makes sense. Okay, in shader editor window, click Add Texture, Image Texture, and then click somewhere on the screen to place it. Or you can drag and drop. So Add Texture, and then Image Texture. It's kind of free floating at this point. It doesn't matter where you put it actually, but I'll put it over here since I want to connect those two together. Click the color button of image texture to the base color of principal BSDF. So click this color here, drag it over to the base color. Move them further apart so I can actually see to do that. There we go. Just comes up as black because we haven't picked our image yet. We're going to do an open and go to it. Click open, choose your file. Again, dragging and dropping it might be easier. The command is under documents. Cube.png. Excuse me. Now notice over here, everything's been assigned. Okay. So this does it all in one swoop. You cut it, lay it out flat, you export it, you do whatever changes, and whatever changes, it could be that you if you've got your house, if you're doing a house and you've cut your house, did one of those smart ones or something, then it's possible that you can go over there and you can apply the different textures. That website I gave you, textures.com, that was off of a tutorial I was watching, and the individual there said that he used that site pretty heavily because it's free, and that way he could apply like a brick texture to the side of the house. He could apply, wood texture, make it look like there's so forth. He said you had to worry about the continuity, because if your image, unless you try to resize it, try to scale your UV window for that selection, you have to worry about, well, if it repeats, like it's here and then does it just stop or does it repeat over? If you're wondering what in the world I'm even talking about there, it's one of these options. Oh, there's repeat. Do you have repeat when the image is done, or do you extend it across the entire area? How do you do that exactly? Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, yeah, this is the important part. If you turn that in the way it is, I won't be able to see it because the image is still external. If you do a file save, give it some kind of name. I'll call it Untitled. Now, if you do a file and say external data and say pack all into the .blend, this will take your image and it'll pack it into the .blend. So when you upload a blend file, it'll have the images. They're saved as ones and zeros, but it's in the file. Questions on that? Okay. Got my cube now. Let's see. Rotate about the Y. Rotate about the be in object mode. And rotate. I'm not very good with rotate without the little tools. Okay, now we're going to create an animation. So I'm going to move this somewhere and move it right here. I'll do an eye. I have to do an eye while my mouse is up here. Choose location, rotation, scale. Just because I don't want to wait forever for it to render, I'll go to 80. 100. Move it over to here. Do another eye. And choose location, rotation, scale. And I want to choose the back to the layout here. That way I can change in to 102. Okay, so there's our animation. Going like that. Now I want to put sound to it. So I want music playing as my animation's going. I'm going to open up a new window here. So put my mouse down here in the bottom right hand corner so it becomes a white plus and click move up. Sometimes I go too far and it wants to merge windows, so I press escape and do it again. Now, if I choose this option and I come down here to the video sequencer, you can move this and see what it's doing. If you do an add, sound. I think I have a sound file under TMP. Some kind of music here I downloaded. So you drag that and drop it on there. This is a sound that you can move around. So if you wanted to, there's lots of different options you can do with the sound. But if you want it to start at a certain time in your animation, you can move it to wherever you want. So like right now, it's starting at 9. And if I go back to my starting there, in there, and now that's all I need to do to put the audio in there. You can put other audio on these other tracks up here, so you can have one playing over another. So if you want to have like soothing music in the background, and then your voice saying in this animation we're going to blah blah blah, it mixes all those together for you. Now to put this into a video file. If I come over here, it's the one that looks like a printer. It's this one here, the output properties. In the file format down here, it says PNG. If you do the download, we want to choose FFmpeg video. Now this is just generally, I can't really say that this works 100% of the time. It all depends upon what codecs you have installed on your computer and so forth. This should work on all Windows machines. Should. But I'll choose FFmpeg video. And once I do that, probably looking over there, it's encoding. I go down to the encoding and the container here. I'm going to choose MPEG 4, MP4. You see there's other ones available. Some of these I don't know what they are. Matruska, AVI, that's a common one, but MP4 would be a good one. And if you have sound in it, which we do, you have to come down here to the audio codec where it says no audio, and do the up and choose MP3. And again, you should have those by default. I think those are standard in all Windows machines. If you're on Mac, you probably won't have these. So that's why you may have to adjust it as appropriate for a Mac. If you just Google Blender, what is this? Output properties, animation, render, audio codec, they'll tell you what's a valid one for a Mac. Okay, so I got all that. Now if I come up here to render and choose render animation. That is going slow. I wonder if it's because of the image I put on there. Because I did that earlier today and this morning, and just, I always have to test, see what they've changed from version to version since the last time I taught it. Since I teach it once a year, then I usually have to relearn some topics. Some topics I can't find what they did with it. Of course, that audio file might not be too small. Now here the output quality is medium quality. I didn't make it highest quality because I didn't want to wait forever. Though I am sitting there waiting forever. I think that's the last frame. So I think it's done. Be nice if it actually came back and said finished. Okay, so I close that. Mine's under my TMP folder, and I'll show where you can see that at. And $8.46. That must be it right there. Let's try it again. Let me see. Share my screen. Share it with audio. If I don't share my computer sound, I don't think you can hear it. Okay, so now I'll try it again. Music was playing. So simple example to show you how to put audio in there. Now again, to save that, I would not be able to play the music if you just save the Blender file and upload the Blender file. You would need to, of course, do a save, whatever name, and then you do a file and external data and pack all into the .blend, or you could choose this automatically pack in the .blend, and this automatically does it. But I'll click pack all into .blend, and now that's all put into one file, so I could upload it. Okay, let me show. I think I got time for video. Is there any questions on audio? Okay. Now, trying to remember if I can do this on a plane. We'll have to see. Add mesh plane. I'll rotate it about my y-axis 90 degrees, so do RY 90. There we go. And I want to come over to my shader editor. I got my material. Oh, I've got a material block on it. Okay. Choose material, click new. I got that there. Now, I'm going to drag one of these video files. Yeah, I'll drag this one. I think I had a dog one here. Or at least picture my dog on there. There it is. So I'm going to click that and drag it and drop it here. So we got our MP4 file. Now if I click the color and connect it with the base color, come back to my 3D viewport, change this to see that. Rotate it, I guess, about the x-axis, RX90. Now I don't know if I have to render it to see it change. I bet so. Because by that point it should have started doing something. Okay. So maybe 202, I'm just guessing. Oops. That'd take a while to render. 202 would take quite a while too. Now if I create me a new window here, if I go to the video sequencer, you might think, well, how come I don't see it? This is not the same as adding like an audio. With this, we added the video as a texture. Okay, so assuming my camera's pointing in the right place, which I didn't check, view, camera, okay, that looks good. Then I do render animation. We'll see how this goes. I may not let it finish. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner of the image, you see something changing on it. And that changing is what's actually in the video. I think in the video, I'm talking about what you need to click on or something. See there, I'm starting to load Oracle. Oracle takes a long time to load, so it's kind of a boring video. I went out and tried to search on. I'd be really careful when I search on the internet on things like this, but dog MP4. Trying to find a MP4 file of a dog playing, and I had a heck of a time. All I could find is YouTube videos. And if it's your own YouTube video, you can download it into MP4 format. But I didn't know how to download somebody else's video into MP4. And unfortunately, I don't have I got lots of videos of my dogs, but I should have had one of those available for this class. Where are we at? 46. Anyway, nothing exciting on this. It would just play that. Now, the one thing I have not figured out is how to do the sound along with the video. I can play that as a texture because it's a material block. My thoughts on it are, and I didn't get a chance to play with that this morning, but my thoughts on it is that you not only have it here, but you also come over here and you add that into the video sequencer. The video sequencer should give us the sound. Where was it at? TMP or no memory. Wait, let me choose this. I said dance. And where am I at? Clear over there. Let me change the ending of that to be 20, so it'll render. Not that I can finish. Oh, and by the way, what folder it goes into is over here in the little print icon. Somewhere, see how it says TMP? This is where you can change it to a different folder if you wanted to. That's curious. Maybe that messes it up by throwing it down here, because I would have expected to see my picture of my dog there, but obviously not. No, that's my first one. I need to delete some of these files. Oh well, I'm running out of time. Does that make sense how to drop a video on there? Okay. So the project for this week is I want you to create an animation, your choice, but I want it to look good. So I want you to use UV, unwrap it, export the file, apply textures and so forth. And it's your choice. If you want to do a house, that's fine. If you want to do whatever object, then that's fine. So, but play with it and then try to keep it basic. Since I'm not very good at marking and cutting those seams myself, try to choose something fairly basic. And then create an animation, and I want music in the background, and also a video playing. Now, if you're wondering what can I get sounds at, real quick, because I know I'm out of time. I'm not sure where you can get a video at. Download it from your phone. Free sound something, I think. Yeah, freesound.org. There's lots of different sites for it, but this is the royalty-free ones, I believe. Welding wave. Sound of welding. You shouldn't have to buy, so don't purchase. I think it's a free download. But then that'll be a sound you could use. I guess that's welding. Questions on what I want in the project? Well, we'll go ahead and stop there.